Is Preventing Click Fraud by Lisa Kendall. Pay per click, also called cost per click advertising, means each time a searcher clicks your ad, the search engine charges you a fee. This is big business, and this is something that every major company is using in order to get their digital footprint out into the major advertising platforms. According to Social Media Today, more than 7 million advertisers invested a total of $10.1 billion in pay per click ads just during 2017. Now that we're going into 2020, that number has just continued to grow. The most effective pay per click channels in 2017 through 2018 were text ads, remarketing, mobile ads, social media, shopping advertisements, and display ads like banner ads. Click fraud is a type of fraudulent activity that happens with pay per click advertising, where humans and bots both result in fake clicks on a campaign, which is intended to cause harm, financial impact, or sabotage to the original user. It's a really serious problem in business. According to the Interactive Advertising Bureau and Ernst & Young, fraud, including click fraud, cost the U.S. digital marketing, advertising, and media industries $8.2 billion every single year. That number has also continued to grow. Some estimate that click fraud takes up almost a third of all of the digital ad spending that happens annually. Now, it happens for a number of reasons. Sometimes it's to damage the competition, creating a sort of sabotage to their advertising planning. It could artificially increase publisher revenue because the pages that host these advertisements get paid no matter who clicks on them. It could be something to frame an advertiser or publisher either for having a high performing ad or for having a lot of traffic hitting their site. But it definitely puts relationships at risk for vendors when you have fraudulent activity going on. It can also be the cause of online vandalism. Anyone can cause mayhem at any time. Bad actors appear for many different reasons, and we don't always have a finite reason why these sort of things happen. But we do have strategies that we can employ to be safer. So, in order to be aware of click fraud, we want to do a couple of things. We want to set different bid prices for content targeted sites, meaning some ads are targeted for more spend, some for less. Each time you reduce your financial risk, you limit your ability to be hurt by fraudulent activity. You also want to keep an eye on your competition, much like in a murder case where the spouse is the most likely suspect. Your competition in business is the most likely source of click fraud that we found in investigative studies. We also want to track our campaigns very closely using Google AdWords, doing daily analytics updates. When you have an active campaign, you want to be checking that thing all the time. Every minute that it's up, it could be potentially costing you money. And if there's fraud happening, you want to be able to identify that immediately. And then you also want to target high value sites, meaning where your ads get placed does matter. Getting your advertising somewhere like Facebook costs a lot more than going to, xyzblog.com. But sometimes that cheap entry point also means that you're exposing yourself to bots and other malicious actors that could be, looking for targets for any sort of reason. There's a lot of things that we can do internally to mitigate our risk. There's best practices that we can employ, understanding our traffic and site visitors, making segmentation lists, monitoring platforms individually. We want to be very careful when we're purchasing traffic as opposed to organic earned traffic, and make sure that we know the traffic provider, they're trusted, their answers are good and valid, have good numbers, and they're trustworthy. We also want to double check our work. It says double check and double check again. Like I just mentioned, when you have an active campaign that's spending money, a well-implemented one can protect you from fraudulent activity, but a poorly constructed one could end up costing you a lot of money that's unintended. You can also use authorized sites to prevent unauthorized use of code. There's ways you can protect what you've put out there and keep it from being manipulated or changed. And of course, remind your internal team, don't click your ads, even if they're interesting, even if you haven't seen it, you wonder what it says. You want to go through your Google Publisher toolbar and make sure that you're using the right strategy to manage those things. There's also the option of getting outside help. There's firms like this, ClickEase, that has a product where they sort out the fraud. They toss them out. We got a bad one here, and we're gonna just drop them down the chute. So this is the #1 rated Google ad prevention agency. Here they're claiming it wastes 20% of your budget. Some other numbers suggest that could even be higher. But they provide a number of services. So they detect clicks from your competition, from bots, and can then react accordingly and to the digital scale that's needed with a bot attack. I mean, you could be ending up in a click farm where there's millions of machines directed at creating fraudulent activity. You better hope you have a budget cap set on that campaign. Whew, you could really be in trouble. And then there's accidental clicks and just brand haters and malicious actors. And this helps you, just detect who is causing this activity. They have quite a few number of benefits listed on their main site. Don't get charged and spend more money. Automated and instant blocking, that is really the money service right there, because we are always stretched too thin for bandwidth, and it would be really helpful to have a firm that just brought everything to the table and was ready to waitlist, blacklist, and quarantine and support security, so that there is no downtime between predicting a fraud and reacting to it. We can see here from their website, there's some helpful reviews. I particularly like to see that they mention Google AdWords supported, because that is what we use for most of our advertising spend. And that's where I really want to focus our protection services. And then their pricing model is really simple. So 15 bucks per month per domain, 1,000 clicks monitored. We average about 1,000 clicks a week on our website. And so this probably would be too low. I would look at this one. Particularly, it's up to 5,000 clicks, which means if we actually run a sponsored ad campaign or two, this is about the number. We usually shoot for about 1,500 clicks or so per paid ad campaign, just depending on our budget and what we're doing. But it also has automatic blocking. If we wanted to get a dedicated account manager, there is an option to do custom. And if we subscribed annually, we could save money on this, $50 a month too, which I think could be a good idea if we're going to plan to have paid advertising in the 2020 budget. We want to make sure we're protected. And then our plan would come with 24/7 support, which is great because we are a bi-coastal company. Unlimited AdWords accounts, which is great. We could have multiple users generating and creating campaign activity from all of our offices, and we can cancel at any time, so we're not stuck in a contract. And I used a number of references to create this today, including our reading this week, mentioned early in the presentation. Thank you so much.